NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire.
60 minutes of local, regional, and touring series interviews, news, and opinion. Now a couple of guys who call Gray Galding the Donut Guy. Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long.
Series East has its first repeat winner of the season, and we'll talk with that driver as the series gets set to race this weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in New England. Ted Christopher is making a midseason run at his second national championship in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, and Gilliland is back on top by mere inches in the West. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast for Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Kyle Rickey back with us for the first time in, it seems like a month. I think it's been a month.
Been about a month, yeah.
Buddy Long,
yeah.
Welcome back. We've
Good to be back. Yeah, I got fired, and then I begged and pleaded for my job back. Why, I don't know, and they gave me 1 week to make good, and they said if you don't do well this week, you're not going to be on next week. Which I'm not going to be on next week, am I?
No, you're not, because we're going to be doing the show this weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, because next Wednesday, both you and I will be at the Eldora Speedway.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I've been very envious of you the last couple of years to be a part of the truck deal at Eldora, so it's good to have a chance to do that, but also envious of this weekend. I'll be busy in karting in Indiana, but you've got a lot of heavyweights and another big all-star race coming up this weekend in New Hampshire.
And that all-star race with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour on Friday afternoon, sandwiched in between Xfinity practice and Sprint Cup qualifying. And
the other cars, yeah.
The other cars that race there over the course of the weekend at the Magic Mile. The streak is broken. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, you knew it had to happen sooner or later, and I figured this would be the driver that did it. But about a week and a half ago at Columbus Motor Speedway, Justin Haley picked up his second win of the season, becoming just the first repeat winner of 2016.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great season for the K&N Pro Series East. The parity's been there, 7 races, 7 faces. Justin Haley with H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks breaks that streak and has a very good chance this weekend of being one of the drivers that could actually get on a winning streak, because H. Scott had some very good notes off of New Hampshire with William Byron scoring the victory last year. Scott Heckert, who was also with the team, came home second. Justin had an 8th place finish there last year, but I'm sure he's pumped and ready for the NHIS event.
He'll talk to us here in a little bit. I like the old school NHIS. Austin Terrio finished second, Colin Cabry third, Harrison Burton fourth, Noah Gregson rounded out the top 5 in that last NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race at Columbus Motor Speedway. Justin Haley will join us on the show here in a little bit to discuss that win, his season so far, and the race this coming weekend at the Magic Mile. One of not many drivers that have experience there, but you mentioned he did have a good, solid top 10 effort there last season.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be interesting to pick his brain a little bit to see what he learned from last year and what he can transfer into this season at New Hampshire. It's always fun watching the modifieds and how well they draft and the great racing they have down those long straightaways, what the difference is between a big-bodied stock car and how he's going to handle that. But again, he's got the momentum on his side, a very good points lead, which is bigger than what we've seen for the better part of this year because of the parity that we've had. But again, a very good opportunity for him to possibly be a repeat winner again and have 2 in a row. So it looks interesting to see what's going to happen.
He'll join us here in a little bit. You mentioned modifieds. They will be there racing twice this weekend, on Friday with the All-Star race and on Saturday with their normal 100-lap points-paying event. One driver that right now is not going to be in the field, and doing my research last night, for the first time since 1998, I believe, Ted Christopher does not have a ride for this weekend. He'll join us here in a little bit to discuss his Whelen All-American Series wins here the last couple of weeks. Won at Waterford a couple of weeks ago, won a big event at Stafford last week, but not on the entry list for New Hampshire, and that's just the oddest thing I've ever seen, because he has 5 wins there, and he's always run well there, and he's run there for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 races a year in some of instances.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. Is it because he didn't have a ride, or was there another reason? I mean, I know they have a selection process. I'm assuming that they go by to determine it, because you look a little bit further down the field, some of the drivers that are 5th, 8th, and 11th in points in the Whelen Modified Tour.
Well, he only has 2 starts this year on the tour.
Teddy, yeah, that's true. That's true. But no, it's going to be odd, because he's not there for the tour race or for the All-Star race. So that's a big loss there. I mean, he's such a fabled part of modified racing, whether it's at New Hampshire, Thompson, Stafford, wherever you go, and it's going to be interesting how the fans react not seeing Teddy C there. Obviously, some fans in the Northeast are going to get a chance to see him over the weekend because he's done pretty good in his Wheeling All-American short track stuff.
Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway, won the SK 5K. This past weekend, took home over $11,000 with that win, which is absolutely incredible for a short track purse of, for the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series teams. He's doing well at the Waterford Speed Bowl. Good news for him. Both of those tracks are getting full fields, which means maximum points toward the Wheeling All-American Series national standings. He's won a championship before nationally, and it's been a while. He's right now in the top 5 and could win his second national championship this year.
Yeah, he's looking up and he sees one driver that he battles with each and every week, and that's in the form of Keith Rocco, who's going to be a tough nut to crack and get around. But the good thing is he races against him each and every weekend, so he kind of controls his own destiny to a degree. He doesn't against the Matt Bowlings, the Chase Purdy's, the Brendan Queens, so that will also be something interesting to talk about with him this afternoon as well.
Matt Bowling, the championship leader, over Keith Rocco. Chase Purdy has slipped to third, Brendan Queen fourth, and Ted Christopher up in the top 5. A couple of weeks ago, it was really a 2-horse breakaway. 3, 4, and 5 have really closed the gap here the last couple of weeks. Now they're all within 100 points, where before the top 2 were well over 100 points out in front. So everybody closing up there among the top 5 in the national standings. We'll talk with Teddy coming up about his latest run and what it might be like for him. Hopefully something comes together last minute that he'll be able to race at least in Saturday's 100-lap event. So we'll see what happens with Ted Christopher. Todd Gilliland will also join us on the show. Picked up another win in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series this past weekend, this time in the West, and it was at State Line Speedway in Post Falls, Idaho, by that much over Noah Gregson. Apparently a photo finish, 4,000ths of a second, one of the closest finishes in series history.
Coming down to the wire, door handle to door handle, sparks flying, drivers banging against each other. It sounded pretty old school to me when they came right back down to the wire and picked up the victory. And, when you look at that, 3 victories on the western side for him, and, of course, the victory in the east at New Smyrna earlier this year. On paper, again, it looks like he's having a dominating year, but it's not that way. Everything has been right down to the wire at the very last moment for Todd Gilliland this year. It's been some very hard-earned victories every time he's been out.
And he's not the point leader.
No,
Even with all those wins.
You'd think he would be.
3 points out of the championship lead. Ryan Partridge continues to lead the standings over Gilliland, and he's only 10 points ahead of last year's champion and his Bill McAnally Racing teammate Chris Eggleston in third. Noah Gregson and Grayson Raz, the 2 Jefferson Pitts cars, go 4th and 5th in the series standings, as there you have a race coming up week and a half or so at the Iowa Speedway, 2.5 weeks at the Iowa Speedway, a combination event there. Todd Gilliland will join us here in a little bit to talk about that win, a good young second-generation driver. And really, I think one of those names that going to be around a while. We'll be watching him climb the ladder, already beginning to see that progression.
Yeah, he'll be at New Hampshire. He's one of the many drivers that's on the entry list for this weekend's event. And going back to New Hampshire, when you look at that, I mean, it's already a stout field in the K&N Pro Series East, but then when you add Gilliland, Corey LaJoie, Brandon McReynolds, Jesse
Priest.
Little, Ryan Priest, a lot of heavy hitters are in there that fall into that mix. That should be one heck of a race.
29 or 30 entries, I believe, for that race, which will be on Saturday night, after the modified race and after the Xfinity race and after Xfinity qualifying and Sprint Cup practice. It's going to be a fun day. They'll wrap up the day with a 70-lap feature event or race on Saturday night for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. And Todd will be at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we'll talk to him about that here coming up in just a few minutes. Noah Gregson did finish second, Chris Eggleston third, Grayson Raz fourth, Julia Landauer, another good top 5. I know she posted post-race that she didn't know how she finished 5th. She was glad she finished 5th, but it was one of the wildest races she's ever been a part of.
Yeah, and again, when you look at Bill McAnally Racing, they had a very good night. I mean, Todd came away with the victory, 3rd place going to Chris Eggleston, your defending champion. Julia with a 5th, Riley Herbst with a 7th. All 4 cars up in the top 10 and doing very well.
Race saw a season high 9 caution flags for 70 laps, uncharacteristic for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West this season, but might have been, I don't know, was it a full moon the other night? Full moon fever?
No, I'm not sure. I don't think it was yet, but it doesn't have to be these days anymore.
That's true. We'll talk to Todd about that night here coming up in a little bit. He'll be with us after the break here on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, head to O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the exclusive Do It Right rebate. Just purchase a set of Brake Best Select or Select ceramic brake pads and you'll receive a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Plus, enjoy quiet, safe, worry-free braking. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, check out Slingin' Dirt with David and Ashley Strim. They talk with dirt, late model, dirt modified, and UMP modified drivers from all over America. Join David and Ashley on MRN.com, the MRN app, and YouTube as they give you the news, results, and their opinions of dirt track racing. Plus interviews with the biggest race winners and newsmakers from New York to California and all dirt tracks in between. Slingin' Dirt Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, the MRN app, and MRN.com.
The grill is hot and the cooler is cold at America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Join us each weekend as your host and head chef Rob Tanner serves up the hottest hits and country music, and Steve Post drops by with NASCAR news straight from the sport's top garages and shops. We have 2 hours of country music at the speed of sound, getting you ready for NASCAR racing. Rev up your weekend at America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA.
This is NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour driver Doug Copey, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Doug, of course, looking for another win this weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as he's had a pretty dominant season on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, looking for his third series championship, I believe. Third, yeah. Three in a row. So welcome back, everybody. NASCAR Coast to Coast driver looking for his first championship joins us now on the hotline, Todd Gilliland, and he is in good position to do that. Right now, just 3 points out of the lead and has had a stellar season, except for the road course. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but picked up the win at the Toyota Napa Auto Parts 150 at State Line Speedway this past weekend. And Todd, it sounded like a wild one of the wilder events of the season. Just talking before the break, 9 cautions, 70 laps. You were part of one of those late race cautions, going 3 wide for the lead. Was it as wild on the racetrack as it was on paper and some of the highlights that we've been able to pick up here the last couple of days?
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely one of the more wild races I've been a part of, but it was a great race for the whole Bill McNally 16 team. I mean, we got an incident in the middle part of the race with about 50 to go, and we got back to 15th, and we had to pass all those guys again, and we got back up to the front, and then on one of the green-white checkers, on the very last green-white checker, I was second, and I beat Noah Gregson to the line by 4,000, so it's definitely one of the more exciting ones I've been a part of.
A great battle, a couple of teenagers going right down to the wire over the weekend. Any discussion with Noah after it? I mean, not in a bad way, but in a good way. I mean, did you guys get the car and say, God, what a great race? That was just an absolute ball. We had a fun time.
No, not really. He just drove up next to me and gave me a thumbs up and stuff, but I mean, I'm sure everyone had fun.
Do you know when it's that close? How long was that time between taking the checkered flag and learning that you were indeed the race winner?
Whew. It probably wasn't as long as it felt, but it definitely felt like forever. So just sitting there, and me and Noah were just stopped side by side on the front stretch, and then when I finally saw the flagman walk over to my car to give me the checkered flag, there's a big sense of relief and excitement.
You know, we were talking about it a few moments ago when we look at your victories this year, 3 on the West and 1 in the East at New Smyrna at the beginning of the season. On paper, again, and I think we mentioned this earlier this season to you, people may say, God, what a dominant season this kid is having. But it's been some very hard-earned victories, as was attested to by the state line victory over the weekend. Nothing's come easy. And actually, as Kyle alluded to, you still have to get on top of the point standings right now with Ryan Partridge 3 points up on you. It's been a battle.
Yes, it's been a battle all season. I know at one point in the race at state line, myself, Ryan Partridge, and Chris Eggleston were running first, second, and third, and that's first, second, third in the points. So it's been so hard to get any separation really in the points, and then when you just have one bad race like me and Chris Eggleston had at Sonoma, Ryan Partridge had a good day, and we could capitalize on our rough day. But that really hurt us. I feel like, but kind of put us behind. But we know we have to still go out and win, and that's been our goal from the start. You can't really points race this. Still super early on to really pay attention to points, and you just got to kind of go out there, and we're just going to stick to what we said at the beginning of the season. We're just going to finish every lap that we can and learn as much as we can as we go.
7 races to go for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. The next event, July 29th, the Casey's General Store 150 at the Iowa Speedway. A lot of great finishes this year, and you mentioned, championships come in making the best of your bad days, and that's what you did this past weekend at State Line. Had an incident midway through the event, rebounded, and was able to take the win. Your worst finish, though, by far, and there was nothing you could do about it from what I understand, 24th, and that was due to a first-lap incident at Sonoma Raceway on the road course in California. First off, what happened there? And secondly, it's got to be frustrating. You're there all weekend. You're practicing. You're qualifying. It's a marquee event for you guys in front of the NASCAR Sprint Cup teams, and you're not able to complete a lap in the event.
Yes, that was we were super disappointed with that. After qualifying 5th on my very first road course, we felt like we could have a good day, and I bet we would have if we just finished. We probably would have got a top 10, but yeah, the 17 started in front of me, and he didn't go, and so I slowed down, and everyone just kind of got jammed up, and I got spun to the inside, and then in front of the whole field. That definitely never works out.
Well, and of course, you have a chance to redeem yourself a little bit later on this season as the series heads to the Utah Motorsports campus for a couple of back-to-back events there, so hopefully that will work well. In the meantime, you shift gears back to the East this upcoming weekend to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Star-studded field. The East is already packed. Kyle and I were alluding to some of the other heavyweights, including yourself, Brandon McReynolds, Jesse Little, Ryan Preece, Chad Fincham, Corey LaJoie, and Eddie McDonald. Those are some of the heavy hitters that we don't see on a regular basis in the East. Take us through your thoughts on New Hampshire this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime those guys can come back in the K&N Pro Series, they're definitely going to be strong and ones to watch for. And even guys you can go to and ask for advice. Just it being my first time there, those guys have a lot of experience in the K&N Pro Series, and some of them don't, but all of them are going to be strong, and they're all going to be ones that we need to look out for, as well as the regular K&N East guys. So it's definitely one of the tougher series out there.
How can your dad help you? Obviously, David's run there a number of times in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series for Front Row Motorsports the last couple of years. How could he help you in preparing, obviously, 2 different type of race cars, but there's not that big of a difference when you look at the big picture.
Yeah. He just mostly told me stuff about the track and, just line stuff where you don't want to get out to the wall too early, and straightaways are long. It's going to be big when I get behind somebody. He said to keep your left front fender out to the left side so you don't get aero tight. That's probably the biggest thing he's told me, because I felt it a little bit at Phoenix, but he said I was going to really feel it here, and that's going to be different for me. So it's going to be a new challenge.
Well, the good news continues for you, even away from the racetrack, actually, with the announcement of a new sponsor this week as well.
Yeah, we're super excited to have Fire Alarm Services come on board. They're associate sponsor at Tucson, and we worked it out with them, and we're hoping to have them on for a couple more races, and hopefully in the future.
Always good when we're seeing new sponsors come in into the sport with some of these NASCAR K&N teams. Talked about David a moment ago and how you may lean on him for New Hampshire. In general this year, your teammate, Chris Eggleston, the defending series champion out in the West, how much have you gone to him for advice, and how much has he given you, knowing, obviously he's racing you for the championship this year? You guys are among the top 3 right now.
Yeah, he's been very helpful. I asked him a ton of questions, probably more than he wants to answer, but he always answers them, and I feel like he helps me as much as he can. When I ask him something, he doesn't just give me the minimum answer. He goes out there and shows me, walks the track with me, and he's been a great person to be on my team and to really lean on, like you said.
Very vital individual and class act. We've had him on the show a couple times this year, done a tremendous job and representing not only Napa, which is celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, but also the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West. I've got to believe that running so many combo events for you that are not traditional combo events like Iowa will be, but coming over to the East and running New Smyrna and running New Hampshire this weekend and some of the other events has got to help you when it comes time to go into Iowa at the end of this month. You're looking at that as being very advantageous for you, having a chance to run against so many East drivers and kind of knowing their habits, their ways of what they do on the racetrack. Is that of great benefit to you, do you feel, when you head to Iowa here in a few weeks?
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a big help, and I think even just coming out to the East Coast and racing like Loudon, it's going to be a bigger track. Iowa's a bigger track, so like we were talking about yesterday here in the shop, we worked on our smaller track setups, quarter-mile track like State Line. We struggled a little bit at Orange Show the first time we went there, and they haven't stopped working on this setup. So I think it was good for the whole team to know that it worked there, and it's pretty much the same thing we're going to have to do at all these new tracks that we go to. We're just going to have to hopefully unload fast and give the team a good baseline for the rest of the tracks that we go to this year, because that's pretty much what we're doing on the East Coast. We're just learning, getting more laps as a team, and obviously myself as a driver trying to learn from everyone out there.
You've run 4 of the 8 East races, and obviously I've run the full NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West. We've talked to Noah Gragson quite a bit about this because he's running the full schedule on both coasts. You've run a majority right now of the East races, and we'll run New Hampshire this weekend. How's the travel been for you? Obviously still, relatively young, and any jet lag and having to go from the West Coast one week to the East Coast the next week, back to the West Coast?
Well, it started out pretty calm at the beginning of the year. New Smyrna, we had a pretty good break from the East, and then lately it's been pretty rough. We've been going back and forth every weekend, and different cars on the East Coast and the West Coast. We've been getting them ready at different places, and it's taking its toll on everyone, I feel like, and it has to be hurting the JPR guys, a little bit too. Everyone's been working super hard, though, and we're working super hard, like I said, and I think we got a good car going to Loudon, and we're all super excited.
But going all the way back to the New Smyrna event, which was your first victory, can you see a big difference in yourself from a maturation process of what you did there to score the victory in the very first race this year all the way up till this past weekend? Do you see a big difference in yourself and how you've handled things on the racetrack compared to how you may have handled them earlier this season?
Yes, me and my team are we talk about that almost after every race. We're just like, wow, we can actually see a difference in you after every race, and I think that's good for them to see it as well as me. It's always a positive thing to see a difference, and always a difference for the good. So my team definitely, they tell me when I do stuff right, and they definitely tell me when I do stuff wrong too. So it's good to have honest people like that on my team, and that they want the best for me.
And that'll continue, obviously, as the season continues on and you are put into new situations at some of these newer racetracks that you'll see as you run for your first NASCAR championship. Todd, as always, thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Congratulations again on the win. Look forward to seeing you up at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend.
Yep, thank you. See you guys up there.
Currently second in the championship standings in the West. Right now, not running full-time in the East, but they say seat time is everything, and he's getting plenty of it in his select events that he is running over here on the East Coast.
Yeah, New Hampshire's a key track, so eventually if you move up to the Trucks Xfinity or Cup, he's already got some notes. He knows how to get around New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and some of the other facilities. So this is a good learning process. What a great kid. I mean, when you look at it, two teenagers that were just, you think of back in the day, the Yarboroughs and the Allisons or Pettys and Pearsons going door handle to door handle. These were older gentlemen, not old, but I mean, they were in their prime, but they were in their 20s or 30s. Going door handle to door handle for checkered flags, and how things have changed so much to it's a pair of teenagers going for it, and that's more the common theme this day and age at a lot of races, not only on the touring series but on lower levels as well. It's pretty interesting.
I don't have the notes in front of me. I think, is Todd 16 yet?
Well, I think it was a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
So I can't remember which one was which.
I think Noah's 17.
Yeah.
And Todd, I think he's obviously 16 if it was that number, but he had just turned 16 because I don't think he was 16 at the beginning of the year. But yeah, they get younger and younger every year. So
and talented.
And more talented. One driver that's been around for quite some time and one of the most veteran drivers on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series is Ted Christopher. He'll join us after his big win this past Friday night at Stafford Speedway. He'll be with us after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation or the perfect romantic retreat? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. Discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service on Daytona Beach. The Plaza Resort and Spa is the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, head to O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the exclusive Do It Right rebate. Just purchase a set of Brake Best Select or Select ceramic brake pads and you'll receive a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Plus, enjoy quiet, safe, worry-free braking. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Motor Racing Network has a way for you to reach out and express your thoughts and opinions on NASCAR. It's the MRN Fan Forum Hotline.
Just wondering what's the first thing you tend to think of? I was curious about those
new rules from what I heard.
Call in 844-4-ASK-MRN. Got a question or comment for a driver or MRN personality? 844-4-ASK-MRN.
You guys keep it on. Let's see you guys next
It's
weekend.
the Fan Forum Hotline, your connection to the sport of NASCAR.
This is NASCAR K&M Pro Series East driver Colin Cabrey, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Colin, fresh off a good third-place finish. I think his best run since he won last year at the Dover International Speedway in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. That third-place finish coming just last week at Columbus.
And Rev has good notes at Columbus. They always seem to do very well there.
Yep.
They do a great job there.
Sergio Pena's picked up a win there recently as well. One of the biggest events in short track racing, and it's growing more and more every year, is the SK5K, something started by the Arute family at the Stafford Motor Speedway a couple of years ago. And that event was held this past Friday night. A great field of modifieds, as they usually get every Friday night, whether it's a big night or not. And coming out on top was, for the second week in a row, Ted Christopher picked up the win, the $5,000 that went with the win, and about $6,000 plus more dollars in contingency money. A good paying evening for Ted Christopher. He joins us now on the guest line. Teddy, congratulations on the win. A big night at the Stafford Motor Speedway last Friday night.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that was a big win for me. I've been fortunate enough to win a lot of races there, but that one definitely paid a lot for an SK race.
And it's awesome because I think you guys are so deserving of it when you look at the numbers. And I know we beat this to death, but it just goes without saying. I mean, Stafford Motor Speedway is one of the true legendary racetracks. It has one of the best fields of SK modifieds around. And when you look at the point standings by which you're leading, Rowan Pennick right behind you in the battle for the championship, but so many other top-flight names behind you. I mean, it is the best of the best every Friday night.
Yeah, that place, there's at least 10 guys with, top-notch equipment that could win any night at that place. So, it's a tough place to race, always has been. And they say if you could win there, you can win anywhere. And, they've got good competition there, and it was great that, Stafford put that up to 5K. Napa and Doug Dunleavy, who helped out with the Gamblers deal. A lot of people involved in it, also had John Rafano, a guy who owns Keith Rocco's car, that put up money for the heat races. It was a good night all around.
A lot of big modified races up in New England. Where would you rank this one? It seems to be growing every year.
I'd have to rank it right up there, and definitely in the top 3 because, like you said, this is the 3rd year with it. It's grown each year. A lot of competitors show up for that race. It's turned into a really, really good race.
Well, we mentioned 2 victories this year of your 3 have come at Stafford Motor Speedway, first in the points by just a very small margin over Rowan Pennick. Doing well at New London Waterford Speedball, and again, a very, very tough crop of drivers there. Currently 6th in the standings, 29 back. We already work our way into the second half of the season. Is the thought of championships already on your mind, or is it too soon to be thinking about that?
It's never too soon to think about it. It's nice to be in contention. I would like to get another one at Stafford. That's probably more of my goal this year than anything else. We were leading at Waterford. We just had a couple, 3-4 weeks of some bad luck. We're not that far out now after we won a race. So anything can happen there. As long as you're in contention going down the stretch, that's all you need to have.
I want to talk about Waterford for a moment. Seems like it's the most competitive field I've seen there in a long time, maybe even before the Dennis Gaeta era, which started in the late 1990s when he won his first championship. I mean, you got guys like Keith Rocco, yourself, Joe Gaeta, Paul Kushiba, Tyler Chadwick, just some of the names that have gone to victory lane there already this season. You're 6th in points, 29 out. I mean, is it one of the more competitive fields that you've seen at the Bowl? I mean, I know you've been in and out of that racetrack over the years.
Yeah, I'd have to say this year is, the past couple of years have definitely, it has progressed into a lot better racetrack. With Bruce Beamer coming on as the track owner, doing a lot of stuff to the facility, making it better. People have definitely, now they know they have a home to go to. So I think a lot of people, more people have committed to racing there. I mean, we're usually averaging about, I'd say 24 to 26 cars every night there in the past 3-4 weeks. So they've got a great car count, and they have some really good competitors there. That place, not quite maybe as many as they have at Stafford as far as to win, but they've got some really tough guys that could that give you, a good run for your money down there, and that can win on any night there at Waterford.
And the weekly series has been so well for you. But on a more sobering note, I know it's been a tough year earlier this year with the loss of one of your longtime team owners in Joe Brady. The Brady 00 has been just a fixture in modified racing for many, many years. The modified world has lost, obviously, another huge veteran owner in Mario Fiore, who passed away just a few weeks ago. Gentlemen, I didn't get to know until just a couple of years ago when we were headed to Bristol for the truck race, which was a companion event with the Whelen Modifieds. Any accounts and stories you have over your years with Mario?
Not as many with Mario, but a ton with Joe Brady. Joe and I have raced a lot together and won a lot of races together. It's tough. This is a tough year. Ronnie Bouchard, Joe Brady, Mario Fiore, big names in modified racing who passed away this year. It's a tough year. Lost a lot of good owners, competitors.
Yeah, tough year for the modifieds, indeed. Looking at the national standings, I don't even know if you look at the national points on a week-to-week basis. You've won, obviously, a national championship before in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. You're 5th right now.
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
Like I said.
Really
hey, Teddy,
weird.
you're leading. Teddy, you're leading. Would you believe us?
Somebody would have to tell me that. I tell you, my business has just been flat out this year. It's been good the past probably 3 years. It's come back again after the 2008 problem with the economy, and I thought 2015 was really good, but 2016 I'm flat out working.
How cool would it be, though, to pick up another national championship? Right now, it seems like the pendulum is swung in your favor. I mean, you've won 2 in a row at Stafford. You've won at the Waterford Speed Bowl the last time out. 2 tracks that have full fields every week that allow you to get maximum points. And obviously, it looks like with the car counts at both of those tracks, that trend could continue for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to hopefully get your bad luck out of the way early. And, the last time I won a national championship, it was a different structure the way they had it and everything, but I didn't get it, get that till the last part of the year, almost the last couple of weeks of the season. It's a little different now. It's where you can draw off a different track. So, I might think about it a little bit. We'll see how the next month goes. That'd be the key factor to see what happens. I might have to go to Thompson for some races.
Rocco's in second, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, little bump and run.
We race against each other every week. So.
And that's where I was going to go to my next question, but you kind of answered it already because you know what it's like to not only race against people like Keith Rocco that are in the hunt for the championship as well, but you also are a veteran of knowing, okay, Matt Bowling's down in South Boston, Chase Purdy and Brendan Queen, they're Greenville Pickens in East Carolina. I can't control what they do. I can only control my destiny and, to a degree, control your destiny with Keith Rocco. So does it not bother you as much, or is it a comfort to know that at least one of the drivers that you're fighting for this national championship is somebody you race against each and every week?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Keith's been a mainstay in that for probably the last 5 or 6 years, and when they changed it where you could draw off of every track that you race, it really helped us around here because, for him, he races Thompson, which I don't, but between Thompson, Stafford, and Waterford, you get a lot of races in, and most of the time they have pretty close to a full car count, Thompson being a little bit on the shorter side, but, that definitely has helped him out in the quest to win the national championship.
53 starts at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You're not on the entry list as of yet this weekend.
Don't remind me of that either.
We still got a couple of days before practice begins. Any possible way that we might see you up there?
No. Somebody was telling me, I think that was, I've been going there since 1994, so another long streak that's ended. But, this year sort of played out good. I raced a couple of the tour races in the beginning, which were Stafford and Waterford, which were close to do. And, those are close for me to do, and I was happy to do that. But it's just, way beyond way behind my ability or my pocket to afford to go tour race. And I'll probably go to the September race at the end of the year, for Loudon, because I definitely missed there, and I've been fortunate enough to win a bunch of races at that place.
And start a new streak.
Yeah, exactly, and I hope so. I mean, Kyle and I were going to start the, Save the Teddy campaign.
That's right.
And get him a car before, I think we ran out of time. You've been around for many years and have had so many great successes. You know what works and what doesn't. You've seen things that people have tried to create series-wise and car-wise, and some have stuck to the wall. Other things haven't. Why are these SK Modifieds so successful?
Well, one I think is, this year we ended up going, and not we as far as, I mean, Stafford and Thompson both. Thompson usually follows what Stafford does, but we ended up running the same tire as we do at Waterford, which in that sense helps you because if a person wants to run Stafford on Friday, he can still go to Waterford on Saturday to run Thompson. You have some spare tires at least to do for practice and things like that. You're not having to buy 8 tires when you go to a racetrack just to compete. The motor rules are all the same. There's a couple different things. I think Stafford still has not gone on to deal with a Jericho transmission, unfortunately, for their division, for our SKs there, which I think they're going to probably next year. But the rules are all the same, cars are all the same, and that makes it easier because, when you're dealing with Connecticut and 3 tracks like that, everybody knows they have a good place to go compete. They can go 3 different places to compete if they want to, or just stay at their one track, that they feel comfortable with.
And there are plenty of modifieds out there. And to bounce off Buddy's question, he talked about the success of the SK modifieds in general. And obviously that division's been around since the early 80s, created by the Aroots to make modified racing more affordable back when the tour-type cars were really taking off. How healthy is modified racing in general in New England as a whole? We're seeing more and more tours pop up. I'm not sure there's enough cars to support all these different tours, but it's certainly affecting the tours that have been around a long time, like the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour. How would you kind of rate modified racing in general right now?
I would have to say that the the local racing is pretty healthy, and that's doing pretty good. The tour stuff, when they changed over that deal to a spec mode, everybody thought it was the cheap route to go, but unfortunately that has turned into a pretty expensive proposition also. So look at New Hampshire, they only have 30 or 31 cars on the entry list for there, which is not a real lot for New Hampshire. Most of the time they go to a regular track and they're getting 25, 26. So, it could. I think, like I said, I think the weekly stuff is pretty good. The touring stuff, so. Look at New Hampshire. The entry blank is 38 spots, and there's only 30 or 31 cars, so that's not too good.
There you go. That's fair. All right, Teddy, we'll let you go. We know you're busy. Thanks for joining us as always, and best of luck to you this weekend at Stafford and Waterford as they're back in action on Saturday night.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, and anytime.
All right, we appreciate that. Ted Christopher running for the championship, and I think that the health of the local level for modified racing is shown in the national standings. When car count is such a big part of earning points toward a national championship, to have two guys in modified racing in the top 5 and a few just outside of the top 5 or top 10, Rowan Penix up there in the top 15, it speaks volumes.
And let's hope that across the board the numbers stay strong, because as we knew at the beginning of the year for South Boston, they had numbers around 30 as far as car count. And it may have dropped slightly, but it's well above the number that they need. And so for Matt Boland, it's going to be hard to pluck him off the top. But when you got Rocco and Christopher nipping at his heels, we're very happy to see East Carolina Motor Speedway have some very good numbers this year. And I think Greenville, Pickens, and Anderson have done pretty good. So let's hope the car counts remain the same. Everybody stays pretty healthy as far as no wrecks, no money spent to repair cars or sit on the sidelines, and we can have a great championship. And right now, in mid-July, it's a good one coming down to the wire.
5 guys within 100 points, which is not a lot at this point of the year for the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series. So going to be fun to watch as we hit the summer stretch. When we come back, a driver looking for another win this coming weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, his 3rd of the year, and is the only repeat winner in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East this year. Justin Haley joins us after the break.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Being there matters, and your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and, most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters, and America's Navy is already there.
This is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Ron Silk, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Well, you knew the streak had to end at some point. All the different winners in the NASCAR.
But did the Haley kid have to win? Did it have to be him?
We'll ask him here in just a moment, because he held off Austin Terrio, who was also looking for his first win of the season. Justin Haley joins us on the guest line. Justin, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast after picking up your 2nd win of the year about a week and a half ago at Columbus Motor Speedway. Congratulations on snapping that streak that we've been talking about for the better part of a year now.
Thank you guys very much. I feel like we've had plenty of opportunities to, win a lot more than, just two races that we have won. But unfortunately, they just didn't play out. And, we got 2 wins, and we're the only repeat winner, and we're feeling pretty good about the points, so we just got to keep having solid runs.
You know, you don't know this, but it's one of my screensavers on my phone is the Victory Lane interview with you.
That's right.
Which was at Greenville Pickens, and it just hit me. It's like, wow, that seems like a year ago, in my opinion, going all the way back to Easter weekend at Greenville Pickens. Did you expect when you saw the level of competition that you had, not only in your own camp with H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks, but the entire field, that it would go 7 races and 7 different winners this year, Justin?
Yeah, man, I don't know. That's crazy, you know. You think about who's won the championship the past few years, and, you know, they've been with H. Scott with Justin Marks, and, you know, Ben Rhodes won 5 and William Byron won 4. So, you know, it's crazy to think that there's been 7 different winners or whatever you guys just said. But, you know, that's insane. So just to see that there's that much competition and really no dominance in the series right now is incredible, just for the level of competition for all of the, you know, younger kids in NASCAR.
This is your second full-time season in the series. Been easier the second time, obviously, going to these racetracks, knowing them, where a majority of the field, including most of your teammates, have never seen these racetracks before.
Yeah, it's been definitely a help to kind of have a higher hand than, you know, most of the people in the series, just being to the tracks and knowing my team and knowing the cars and, you know, just knowing restarts and the racecraft of K&N Racing, a lot of tire conservation. So it's been, you know, easier for me, but, you know, we definitely have to keep digging. New Hampshire isn't one of my better tracks. We didn't run very good there last year. So, you know, I've been iRacing a ton, and hopefully we can go out and have a good run this weekend and maybe extend our points lead a little bit more.
H. Scott Motorsports had a very good run there last year with, as you mentioned, William Byron, the defending champion, scoring the victory, and at that time his teammate Scott Heckert coming home in second. You had an 8th-place run. You weren't satisfied with that. What was the difference? What were the problems last year in New Hampshire for you, and where do you think you can improve to possibly get on a win streak and pick up that 3rd victory?
You know, one of the issues was we brought an old composite body. You know, the older style body isn't as fast as the new 5-star body, so kind of a bad decision on our part, but you know, obviously we're going to come back this year with a 5-star body. And I guess one of the other main issues was having to deal with William Byron. He was so fast wherever we went. It seemed like he led every practice session. If he didn't qualify on the pole, he was in the top 3. So not having to race against him has been a huge pleasure. So hopefully we can go back and do what he did last year.
The Truck Series guys are saying the same thing now. We have to deal with William Byron.
Exactly. I mean,
amazing.
he's phenomenal. The kid's phenomenal.
Amazing what he's been able to do. You got a 40-point lead over Noah Gragson, 6 races to go, including New Hampshire this weekend. At this point of the year, is there such thing as a comfortable point lead?
You know, if I would have had that Dominion win, you know, that I lost by a few inches, and that VR win that I lost by a few inches, you know, we could have probably a good, nice points lead, but, you know, I'm not going to say it's comfortable yet. Anything can go wrong, and we can have the worst 6 races of our life coming up. So we have parts failures or, you know, just silly tires going down. So you just got to hold your breath, I guess. I don't know. I've never been in this position, and it's definitely a lot more stressful.
And the remaining races that you do have left, 2 of those are going to be on road courses. One of them at New Jersey Motorsports Park, which will be somewhat new to the K&N Pro Series East. Not to look too far beyond New Hampshire, but do you find yourself kind of looking at each event, the Iowa Combo race, the events on the road course, and the other races left this year?
Yeah, you definitely look ahead. I went and raced New Jersey in the Trans Am Series and sat on pole and almost won the race, so I'm feeling pretty confident about New Jersey, and Goodyear had me do a tire test at Watkins Glen with the K&N Series, so I'm feeling pretty good about the road course races, and, you know, we've always been really good at Iowa and Dover, so just got to get past New Hampshire and see where the season brings us, and, you know, there's that last Greenville, so obviously we're pretty good there.
Picking up the win at Greenville earlier this season. You mentioned New Hampshire a little bit ago. You didn't have a good run there last year. You finished 8th, which, you know, respectable run for your first time at a big racetrack like that, a flat 1-mile oval. You mentioned iRacing. You've done them both. You've done iRacing, and you've been able to race there. How close are they? The iRacing track and the layout compared to the real layout?
It's fairly similar. The major difference is I'm not scared on iRacing. It's pretty scary racing there at New Hampshire, sort of like Pocono. I raced there a ton, and in the first lap of practice, I was scared half to death. So, just getting the feel of the speed and, the G-forces is going to be the biggest thing come Saturday.
When you crash an iRacing, you just hit the reset button and you go again.
It doesn't cost you a dime. We talked about this at the top of the broadcast, the New Hampshire deal, because modifieds are there as well. And obviously, in watching the modifieds, a lot of drafting going on down the straightaways, a lot of zigging and zagging and going back and forth and changing positions. A guy in first can find himself coming off a turn number 2 in first place back in fifth. Do you have something similar? Is it similar in the stock cars? I know there is a difference, but do you guys feel a draft on those straightaways in New Hampshire? Do you feel the power and the ability to make some good runs and do similar things that the modifieds can do on the straightaways before you get to the next turn?
Yeah, so I've learned a ton about aero and K&N series. New Hampshire was kind of the first big track I'd ever been to that aero was in effect, and actually, last year I got aero tight coming out of turn 2 on the first lap and smacked the right side off my car. So I learned a lot about aero pretty quick. But there's definitely a draft. It's hard because with these new 5-star bodies, you kind of get in a pocket of air about 2 or 3 car lengths back from the guy in front of you, and you're kind of stuck there, similar to the trucks and the higher series. So I don't think you really get a draft in the K&N series. It's just more of a pocket of air you get stuck in. But, sometimes you can get a good run if you stick your right front out and get the air on a certain part of your car and spoiler.
How much will you, in New Hampshire and other events this year and in past events this year, have you coached your teammates who are all relatively new to the series, like a Harrison Burton and a Hunter Bays and those guys that are part of the H. Scott team that haven't been around quite as long as you?
Man, I don't know if I got to coach them or they coach me. I always offer them advice, but they always go out there and give me a hard time. It's it's hard. It seems like every racetrack I go up to them and I'm like, hey, you guys, if you need anything, just let me know. And I look at the practice sheet after practice, and they're all in front of me. So it's a lot of work to keep up with everyone.
But you have ended the day, more times than not, in front of them. Your worst finish this year, I believe, is a 9th, and that was way back at Mobile in Alabama. So look forward to seeing those numbers continue to rack up for you as the season unfolds. Justin, as always, congratulations again on the win. Thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and we'll see you at the Magic Mile here in a couple of days from now.
Thank you guys for having me on.
All right, that is Justin Haley, the series points leader. 40 points, I think, might be kind of sort of safe from what we have seen the last couple of years from Ben Rhodes. Although we saw 2 years ago, Ben had a big point lead going into New Hampshire and missed a restart, got wrecked, and it seemed like there were 2 or 3 races after that where he couldn't get out of his way.
Yeah, anything can happen, but there's been a lot of parity on this series this year, and the consistency has been very good there for Justin, and it's going to be tough, but again, anything can happen. There's a lot to go. Good thing is he's going back to a track like Greenville-Pickens where he won before. He knows he feels very comfortable running on the road courses. He's got some good notes from there and other forms of motorsports. He's got a pretty good comfort level, and it's going to be tough to unseat him, and he's the veteran of this entire series for the most part, and the veteran of his own group at H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Marks. So Noah's not going to give up the ghost early anytime soon, and neither is Kyle Benjamin or anybody else behind him. It's going to be a good battle.
Justin Haley's the veteran at 17 years old. Yes. Back to wrap things up as we'll review last weekend and preview this weekend coming up on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this. Looking for winged sprint car coverage? MRN has you covered with Winged Nation. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, it's Winged Nation presented by Hercules Tire on MRN.com. Thursdays, check out the Winged Nation Weekend Preview podcast presented by Hefner Racing Products. Then on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Eastern, watch Winged Nation presented by Sage Fruit on BAV TV. MRN's Winged Nation, your source for all things winged sprint cars.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
Like experience kind of outweighs youth.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Kyle Busch driving for his life right now.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
Our lives are so much different than what people may think they are.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Harrison Burton, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Harrison. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Reviewing now some of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series tracks that were in action this past weekend, and we've talked a lot about Trevor Huddleston, usually top 5 in points. He fell back to 6 because Irwindale was not in action this past weekend, but he did win the last time out. A late model event on July 2nd. They don't return to action at Irwindale until July 30th.
We mentioned East Carolina Motor Speedway, and their car count has been up. Late model stock car twins over the weekend went to Brendan Queen, taking both of those, and, of course, helping himself being in the top 5 in the Whelen All-American Series standings.
Bruce Yackey picked up another win, a late model win at the Colorado National Speedway in Tacoma, Colorado. Tyler Davis won in the Pure Stocks. They are back in action on this Saturday night.
Shimon Speedrome, Jimmy Zacharias, he's been pretty hot this year.
Yes,
he's been kicking tail in modified racing. Bested Connor Sellers and Jesse Kent. They'll be back in action this Friday night.
Mentioned the Thompson Speedway. Ted Christopher was not there this past Saturday night, but they did run a rare Saturday night evening. Unfortunately, the modifieds did not get in because of rain. Rick Gentis ended up taking the late model win. Their next event, Wednesday, July 27th.
And Utica Rome, which we're happy to say that they are running these days. I know it's been a while. They had a lot of rainouts. Larry White took the most recent modified win over Alan Johnson and Mike Mahaney. They'll be back in action this Sunday.
Larry Hull picked up the modified feature win at the Meridian Speedway in Idaho. They're back in action this Saturday night, July 16th.
Eddie McDonald, you mentioned him. I believe he got a late model win at Seekonk Speedway over the weekend over Ray Parent and Dylan Estrella. And bad news for Devil's Bowl. They just can't win. Asphalt and dirt tracks, I think, both got rained out.
Yep.
They've been hammered.
Adams County Speedway, Corning, Iowa. Dylan Book picked up the modified feature win. Leon Zeitner won in the late models. And David Nail Jr. won in Pro Stocks. They're back in action this Saturday night.
Colorado National Speedway, I think you mentioned Brett Yankee got the victory there. Madison International Speedway, Hall of Fame night with Racers Reunion.
Yep.
Zach Riddle, Bobby Wilberg took the twin late model feature events.
Mike Bubba Brooks won the Outlaw Super Late Model feature event, becoming the division's first repeat winner of the season at Kalamazoo Speedway in Michigan. Their next event, the Night of Doom Thrill Show. This Friday night, their next race event is set for in a couple of weeks as well.
And, there is a Night of Destruction closer here, and that's Bowman Gray. The monster trucks are there.
Right.
I think they got demolition derbies. Modifieds will be there. Danny Bone picked up the modified win over the weekend over Burt Myers and Tim Brown in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 100. But, yes, Night of Destruction.
And I think there's one coming up at history. There we go. There's one coming up.
Oh, my truck just took into the shorts in the parking lot.
Wow, you said it. Dexter Knipe and Charlie Watson split the twin late model feature event wins at Hickory Motor Speedway. Jeremy Pelfrey won in the limited late models. Their next event will include a Paramount Kia Big Chen Challenge for the late models this Saturday night. I also think they have a monster truck bus race demo show coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin. It was a big sprint car weekend of racing. Lee Groves picked up one. I know the World of Outlaws were there, and they're not NASCAR, but our congratulations on the NASCAR coast-to-coast side to Logan Schuhart, who picked up his first career World of Outlaw win. Of course, Donnie Schatz picked up another one at Cedar Lake as well.
Solana High Bank Speedway in Pryor, Oklahoma. Jeremy Rasmussen picked up the A-Mod feature win, while Nathan Hager won in the B-Mods. They're off this weekend. Their next event Saturday, July 23rd.
Lee Pulliam, the former Whelen All-American Series national champion, picked up the latest win in late model stocks at the Motor Mile Speedway. Stephen Parsons, Phil Parsons' son, doing very well. Picked up a third-place finish.
Effort there, yeah. Kingsport Speedway, the Concrete Jungle, they were another one of those tracks rained out this past weekend. They're back in action this coming Friday night.
Did you do Dominion Raceway?
No.
Okay.
Go
Nick
ahead.
Smith picked up another late model
He did.
stock car win. Doug Barnes Jr. been doing very well. He was second. Michael Harden third. They'll be back in action with a 100-lapper this upcoming Saturday night.
20 cars on the entry list for Friday's All-Star race. 8 champions.
Who's your pick?
Can a non-champion win? Like a Justin Bonsignor, a Jimmy Blewett, a Ryan Newman, who's in the event. I'm not sure why. Woody Pitcat, Timmy
You said it, I did.
Salamito, Chase Dowling, all in the race. So should be a fun one. Want to thank Ted Christopher for being on the show, Justin Haley as well, along with Todd Gilliland, for Buddy Long and Craig Moore. I'm Kyle Rickey. See you next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.